Not the last time. Playing Abzan Megamorph against Matthew Moreno, who is playing Green-White Eldrazi. Round number 14 about to begin here. Both players do have some fetch lands to start. Somebody's got a little bit of shine. Gonna sacrifice a Wooded Foothills. Get a basic forest, and there's a Hangerback Walker. Moreno gonna sacrifice his Windswept Heath. Both players will go down to 19. And we will start it up here. Top 8 still on the line here between these two players too.
Yes. Another card in Moreno's deck here is Quarantine Field, and that is about as good of a payoff as you can get against a slow deck putting a lot of permanents onto the table. Vulnerable to Dromoka's command, of course, but I think Moreno's got very good tools for this matchup.
And there is a forest. Moreno will pass the turn back over to Stevens. Canopy Vista, the draw here for Todd. He'll play that as his third land. There's a Mastery of the Unseen. He'll pass the turn back. No interest in attacking with the Hangerback Walker. Looks like Ulamog may have been the draw there for Moreno. There's a copy of Silk Wrap. There goes Hangerback Walker. Does Moreno have land number 3? He does. And it looks like he'll pass the turn back over to Stevens, who will play a Windswept Heath. The Shrine of the Forsaken Gods, I believe, is the land.
Yep. Had this one in a booster draft.
Oh, did you?
Yes. It was good in conjunction with Eldrazi's.
Great analysis.
Yep. This and much more come down the pipeline this afternoon.
Cannot wait. Flooded Strand here from Moreno. He'll sacrifice that.
Land that literally references Eldrazi in the text box.
Yeah.
Reasonable alongside Eldrazi.
Basic Plains. He's got some interesting lands in the deck. Sanctum of Ugin and Shrine of the Forsaken God. Some new ones there. Let's see what Moreno has for 4 mana. It'll be a copy of From Beyond. So some new cards we haven't seen yet this weekend. From Beyond, a lot of people comparing it to an Awakening Zone-esque effect. That's pretty accurate. I mean, they're different cards, of course, but...
Of course. People do love to compare cards to each other.
Yeah. Strictly, what do you call it? Strictly different?
Strictly different.
Strictly different, got it. Manifest's going to come into the red zone. Here's Gideon.
And this is the type of draw that worries me for Stevens in the matchup. His draw's been really good. Hangerback Walker into Match the Unseen into Gideon. This is about how you draw it up from that side of the table. The problem is that this is very slow and ponderous and not really threatening Moreno's life total and can all be invalidated by cards like Quarantine Field and Ulamog.
Moreno does get to make a Scion on the upkeep from Beyond. We'll see what's next here for Matthew. Just going to pass the turn back at this point. So Stevens will draw. Death Mist Raptor was the draw step. See what Todd wants to do here as far as attacking is concerned. Could fire up Gideon, could make an emblem. Looks like Gideon's going to get fired up. We're coming into the red zone.
Stevens just needs to apply pressure here.
Oh, we'll see if there are any blocks here from Moreno or any sort of an effect. Here's 3 mana. This copy looks like a Stasis Snare. So that's going to take care of Gideon.
And Moreno is really loaded up here on these kind of enchantments, which is nice because it protects him from Dromoka's command too. He can sacrifice the Silk Wrap. Stevens gets back a dead Hangerback Walker, and this protects his cards like Stasis Snare and Quarantine Field, should he get that down the line.
Stasis Snare, not a bad one.
No,
first time seeing that this weekend.
I think that we haven't seen very much of it thus far because people are not playing with that much double X of anything, casting cost-wise. The card's very good.
Death Mist Raptor, Warden of the First Tree is how Stevens will finish his turn. Another Eldrazi Scion is going to be made here. Pretty scary when you're playing against a ramp deck like Green-White Eldrazi because you know they're just always building towards something. You're just curious if they're ever going to get to it. Now there's Shrine of the Forsaken Gods. The previous land was Sanctum of Ugin. So the Shrine with 6 lands on the battlefield is pretty scary. Excuse me, with 7 lands. With 6, it's less scary. Sacrifice here. We've got an Eldrazi. Steven's going to take a look. I believe we're looking at Ruin Processor.
Oh, combo deck.
Yes, we are going to get to work. When you cast Ruin Processor, you may put a card an opponent owns from exile into that player's grave. If you do, you gain 5 life. And hey, you also get a 7/8. Which isn't particularly good against Death Raptor, but okay, or Valor Stance. Well, that's timely.
I don't know, 5 life is 5 life.
I'm not unhappy with 5 life.
You know, Moreno's just trying to cushion himself, get to his top end.
You just have to, if you're Stevens, you have to have the removal spell there.
Yes.
You know, that's the big one.
Otherwise, he would only be able to attack with Death Raptor, and at that point, it's just a matter of time before Moreno finds a big payoff card.
And clearly, this ramping strategy has been working out for Moreno this weekend, 10-3. Haven't seen a lot of Eldrazi ramp decks just yet. I think some players are unsure the best way to go about building them. Pretty healthy attacker, but keep in mind Moreno is at 17, so you might be able to take this hit, start blocking next turn.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, he would try to just get to Ulamog, exile Death Raptor, and probably Warden of the First Tree. And then Master of the Unseen doesn't really matter in terms of chump blocking Ulamog because of Ulamog's attack trigger.
There's an activation of Warden of the First Tree. It's going to become a 3/3. So 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points of damage. Windswept Teeth. Pass the turn back. Moreno falls to 7. He'll get a Scion. A bunch of mana here for Matthew. See what's coming. Hedron Archive. Now that'll get him to cast Ulamog next turn. I don't know if he's going to get a next turn, though. That's the big question.
He's still got 2 chump blockers. Asking a lot for Stevens to kill him this turn.
Well, he's going to need those chump blockers
To be able to cast
to cast Ulamog, yeah. I think Steven's turned pretty simple.
This is all I can do.
Turn them all. There has to be some blocking, of course, because this is lethal attack, so double chumps. Healthy amount of damage will come through. Moreno down to 2. Steven's going to sacrifice the Windswept Teeth. Get himself a Canopy Vista. From Beyond's going to make a token. I'm not sure what Moreno's outs are in this situation, however.
Yeah, I mean, Stevens can simply go wide around Ulamog at this point. Only 1 blocker, facing down 4 lethal attackers.
One thing to note, Moreno, just this game, he didn't draw very many ramp spells.
No, it was a little slow out of the gates. And hasn't been able to do anything with his value lands either. So Shrine of the Forsaken God and Sanctum of Ugin did nothing.
Yeah, he's going to have to concede the game now. So, Todd Stevens is going to win game number 1 here over Matthew Moreno. I was on Megamorph. Pretty simple, straightforward plan of just giving the beatdowns. Does win game number 1 here over Green White Eldrazi. We'll take a look at the sideboards here. We're going to start with Moreno and the innovative Eldrazi deck here with 3 copies of Varashan Cleric, 2 Surge of Righteousness, an Ugin the Spirit Dragon, a Gaia's Revenge, haven't seen that one all weekend, 2 copies of Dragon Lord Dromoka, a Gideon Ally Zendikar, 3 Den Protectors, and a Race, and a
Planar Outburst.
Planar Outburst. Okay, thank you.
I really like Planar Outburst in this matchup. I can get behind bringing in an Ugin as another big payoff. I think a Russian Cleric is not effective enough at blocking for this matchup, and I like the 2 copies of Dragon Lord Dromoka. I think he just wants a couple more solid mid-range plays. Matthew was very good out of the gates, had some removal spells, couldn't get to his top end, but if he had some good 6 and 7 mana plays, he would have been a lot more productive that game. So the Planar Outburst and the Dragon Lord Dromokas help a lot there.
What do we see on the other side of things?
4 copies of a Ration Cleric, 2 Plummet, a Valorous Stance, Mastery the Unseen, Evolutionary Leap, Hollowed Moonlight, a Hidden Dragon Slayer, a Stasis Snare, 2 copies of Whisperwood Elemental, and a Dragon Lord Dromoka. I think the Stasis Snare and the Valorous Stance are fine removal spells for this matchup, as is Hidden Dragon Slayer.
Interesting to see how these Eldrazi decks are going to be built. You know, we saw Ali Eldrazi a little bit earlier in the weekend. He's got at least 4 losses now, but he got off to a pretty good start with his build of Eldrazi. He had 5 colors. Now we just see a green-white version. Do you think the tools are there for a ramp deck right now?
Well, I don't know if the payoffs are consistent enough. The deck doesn't have a lot in terms of variance reducing. It just plays a bunch of Ulamogs and hopes to eventually cast them. And there's some other 7 and 8 mana Eldrazi's that are fine cards to be playing, but they aren't necessarily game-winning plays. So I think the consistency of the deck is the biggest issue I have with it right now. I'm surprised by the lack of Ugin in this list because it's very castable and it's something that can win the game on its own, probably more reliably than Ugin can. Than Ulamog can in a variety of matchups. And it doesn't interfere with anything else you've got going on. I guess the issue with Ugin in this deck is he's playing with Silk Wrap and Quarantine Field and Stasis Snare.
So that little anti-synergy.
That's not a great combination of cards, but I do like Ugin, and I believe Ali had a couple copies of Ugin in his main deck.
Ugin seems to be, it feels well situated.
Yeah, I guess Moreno's deck is doing a little bit more of using those cards for early defense and to facilitate some processors, because you are sort of incidentally exiling cards your opponent has.
Well, those are the options there for both players. In the meantime, we're going to talk about Patrick Chapin, the innovator, and his 2 fantastic books, both part of the Next Level library.
Absolutely. We have Next Level Magic and Next Level Deck Building. Next Level Deck Building, focusing on the art of building decks, and Next Level Magic, a comprehensive guide to playing better Magic for players of all ability levels, available on paperback and ebook right now at starcitygames.com/nextlevel.
Chapin in full set review mode right now.
Yes. Prolific. A lot of words.
Yeah, the word you're looking for is thorough. He's getting you your money's worth right now, analyzing so many cards from this set. Doesn't want to miss a single thing that's possible. And there is a lot possible from what we've seen thus far. Good set.
I'm definitely optimistic seeing the Eldrazi in week 1. They're not the easiest decks to build, and I wasn't even sure the tools were necessarily there for legitimate decks out of the gates. And seeing a variety of players like Moreno here and Eldrazi make deep runs with Eldrazi decks. Now, I'm sure there's room for improvement, and there's other cards yet to be explored, but it looks like the base is there for something reasonable, and the deck seems naturally well situated against the slower, bring to light style decks of the format.
And those decks have been very popular this weekend, and successful.
Yeah. I mean, Jerry Thompson and Kent Ketter both doing quite well for themselves.
Yeah. These players are happy with their openers. We're underway here in game number 2. Canopy Vista is where Moreno is going to start. Wooded Foothills here for Stevens. He's going to sacrifice that, get a basic forest, and play a Warden of the First Tree to get his second game underway. Hangerback Walker, the draw there for Moreno. A Plains, and we might have Hangerback on 1. Instead, it'll be a Silk Wrap to take care of the Warden of the First Tree. Just a Plains there from Stevens. He'll pass the turn back.
The Silk Wrap, Stasis Snare, then play with other enchantments. I'm protected from Dromoka's command, and I can use processors to put stuff in your graveyard from exile. There's something going on here. I hadn't thought about that suite of cards working together. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I actually like that idea quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't. Again, I'm not saying that I necessarily think Moreno's deck or anyone's deck here is the perfect 75, but that suite of cards is very attractive.
There is Sanctum of Ugin again. Oh, there's Arash and Claire, so Moreno's going to go up to 23. Now we're going to head back Stevens' way.
I'm not that thrilled with Arash and Claire coming in for Moreno here. Stevens' deck attacks with a lot of 3/3s.
He's jump blocking right away, so that basically plays the role of a healing salve there, I suppose. Maybe a little bit better than that.
Double healing salve.
Yeah.
Got to jump and got to gain 3.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the best use of a sideboard card there, but I guess we'll find out as this game plays out. Gideon shown up, brought an ally with it. The idea could be just to buy enough time to get to the Eldrazi, which Arash and Claire can help you do. Ugin the draw.
Now, Ugin, on the other hand,
Big fan there.
That's a card I love in this matchup because Stevens puts a lot of mid-range permanents on the board. He's not that fast. Moreno had no trouble getting to 8 mana last game.
All right, he's going to have a little bit more difficulty getting 8 mana this game because all he can do is pass the turn back. No play. There's a Plains there from Stevens. Gideon's going up. It's coming to the red zone, as is everything else. Not afraid to attack with that ally token. Looks like Deathmish Raptor is going to be blocked.
Yeah, and I think that Moreno rather, just has to go for a high upside block here of getting a 3/3 off the table and leaving himself with 3 Thopters.
3 Thopters are on the way. Deathmish Raptor hits the graveyard. There's a Whisperwood Elemental. That'll bring a manifest creature along with it. So back to Moreno, we're gonna go. See what's next here for Matthew. Gonna go with Hangerback Walker for 2.
And I think that Moreno needs to strongly consider at least using some attackers here to whittle down Gideon.
Slow it down a touch.
Also, if Moreno goes, all right, I'm just going to set up these chump blockers, Stevens might go, okay, make an emblem.
Yep.
And then your chump blockers are a lot worse over the next couple of turns.
Getting a very fascinating card to me. So many different uses. They're all so good, too. Not a bad ability on this card. The Gideon Elevator is going to have to move up if he's going to activate it. Looks like, okay. Looks like maybe the ally token route is where Todd will go in the second main phase. For now, all the creatures coming in. Just a few chump blocks. Another ally, and now Knight of the White Orchid, which does not get to search.
I mean, these blocks only make sense if Moreno has a sweeper on the way, like right now.
Yeah.
He made no effort to get Gideon off the table. He did not chump block with his Hangerback Walker this turn and just chump with all the Thopters instead.
Yeah, Planner Outburst and Hostility, stuff like that is what he's got to have
He's
here.
got to be playing towards one of those cards.
Yeah. Well, he does have Planner Outburst in hand, so here's Silk Wrap. Gonna go to Knight of the White Orchid. That's definitely what he's playing towards, and he wants to do it with Hangerback Walker out there too, so he can get the token. So it all makes sense. Well, here comes Deathmish Raptor back. That's a bit of a beating.
I mean, now it's possible the emblem is lethal.
It's ticking down pretty quick. It looks like might just be going up. Attack with that.
Attacking and emblem are about the same.
Basically the same, yeah.
Yeah, because there's one block, so it's 5 points either way.
4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's exactly as if there's nothing. You block Gideon, 16 exactly comes through.
Yeah, 6, 10, 16, yep.
Yeah, that's going to do it right there. Todd Stevens going to win this match over Matthew Moreno, 2-0. I was on Megamorph, going to take care of green-white Eldrazi. Pretty straightforward stuff there from Stevens. Nothing flashy about it. Play some creatures, attack with them, get the job done.
Yeah, it was not a great display from Moreno's deck in that match because Stevens was light on interaction. I think there was one Valorous stance in game one and wasn't applying that much pressure, but Moreno did not have the right mixture of mana acceleration alongside a payoff.
Yeah, there's nothing particularly flashy about that match, really, from either side of the table. But a win's a win's a win's a win. So Todd Stevens does win. That means he's going to move to 11-3, and that's one match closer to making the top 8 on what's beginning to be a pretty interesting journey for him.
Yeah, no, it's you know, he came over to the booth and he introduced himself to us and said, "I'm coming to all these events. I'm pretty far away from the Players Championship right now, but that's my goal. I'm coming to Atlanta. I'm coming to all these things, and we're going to see where it goes."